what have you found to be good practices in order to do this?
Okay, so good practices have been that here at the DPR we haven't done it so far yet, but what I've done before is really involve the subcontractors in training on using the tools and processes that are to be implemented on the project. And this really goes as far as training them directly on a specific tool, for example, of exchanging BIM models, really involve them in the training and try to have that mindset that we are together in a team and not like you are the contractor, you have a contract and let's stick to that, but really try to involve them. So trainings have been a specific item that we have gone for.
Yeah, great. And Sergio, you mentioned a few things as well. I was wondering if you could share your perspective.
I would say we have similar approach as DPR, but what we try to do also is to implement that on the BAP, so on the BIM execution plan. So any subcontractor or anyone that is coming to work with us, they know that they will have to provide BIM model. So in that case, we try to not enforce, but at least filter the subcontractors in a way that we know that they are able to deliver what we need. And then during the project, we also provide training in all sorts of tools, Revit, Navisworks, any kind of software that are going to be used through the project, we then provide training. But one of the basic requirements would be to have that as a requirement on the contract. So then it's kind of force people, because nowadays everyone is trying to work with BIM. So doing that, having as a contract or a formal way to enforce them, it's kind of a good way as well.
Great. Somnath, anything to add?
Yeah, I think the main thing is that the up and down the chain all has to be compliant. Then only it works well. So we have created a digital cell, which is actually in the process of training. Yeah, in the process of training the people in the construction sites, the planning guy, the scheduler, and also the construction manager, how to utilize this. Because there is a model ready. What is the point of not using that model? So it's very important. So that's a map we are doing now for next 2 years, 2 to 3 years time.
Great answers. How about a question from the audience for their panel? Yes, it can be general. It's the chance to have a higher level discussion about this in the future.
Okay, just because I have this idea in my mind all this time, we were presenting all these great presentations. Okay, you are here as representatives of the industry, addressing, using every day this kind of technologies. But what is the real situation of the construction sector in your countries? How much this technologies, how these technologies incorporated in everyday practice?
So I think everyone heard, but I'll repeat it also for our audio. What is the real state of these technologies in practice on the construction site, overall?
In India or Ireland or Europe or in the world, I mean, you may have an idea.
Yeah, thank you for your question. From my experience, since in DPR, it's like the BDC guys don't sit in the office; they go on the job site. That's how we operate, so that we can embrace the operation teams and have their confidence in us and in the technology, because a face-to-face conversation and like a online meeting makes it's a whole difference. So coming onto the scheduling part, since you're on the job site, there could be a scheduler over there. So we do have our BIM coordination schedule in the beginning, which we put in the BIM execution plan. However, as you mentioned, things gets changed on the field all the time. It's like the client needs a design change has come, or some kind of RFI or disruption have come. So then it becomes a challenge on our end. Oh, we have to In the beginning, we talked about to meet this BIM execution plan schedule, but in reality, it's not happening, and it doesn't happen most of the time. So the main strategy, what we adopt is, oh, okay, so superintendent, you tell me what area you need to be coordinated. I'll take all the team, or I'll talk to architects, a subcontractor, we need to focus this area, forget about the BIM execution plan schedule. So in order to meet schedule, because the schedule is the king, client is all, what they care about is the project completion. So if we are curtailing or if we are meeting the needs of the operations team, then we are getting succeeded.
Great. Others to add any perspectives?
Yes, so I think we have to break this down on what you do with the technology in the project, and to that word we use like the low-hanging fruits. So, and if you put like the different use cases you have for technology, so you have like the 3D coordination, you can make like a nice visualization, or you can have like really full integrated visualization, also integrated with cost, and then you can integrate it with, laser scanning that automatically gets the actuals and feeds it back into the model. So I think all like the 3D models, they are around. That's pretty standard already. I think a company that's not working with 3D nowadays is not good if you're still doing that. And 3D coordination is also pretty standard. You should just be doing. And we have this adoption curve, right? So all these use cases, they're running over this adoption curve and becoming standardized use cases over time. So I really think like 3D coordination is just something that is really coming, and all the others are going to come too. At a certain point in time, it becomes standard as well.
I would say it's kind of evolving process, because like as I said on my presentation, we have new technology every day. So if we think like 4 or 5 years ago, we didn't have drones, and today we have drones that integrate with laser scanning. So you can have like for big sites, you can have that advantage to have instead of just walking to the site. And then also we have 3D printing. I know that BIM Netherlands, they are doing some experiment where they have a bridge that was 3D printed, concrete 3D printed. And then that it's always evolving. It's always something that it's new that we try to implement. In BIM, when we see something that's new, we usually try to run a pilot. We did something similar with the Oculus from Microsoft, where you have that integrated with the model, so you can raise an issue through the model, and then using the Oculus, you would be able to visualize and access that information. So that's like everyone say, it's kind of, the 3D, it's a standard at the moment, but it's always something new that's happening. And it's how fast and how good you can implement that to the construction site. That's what will make the difference at the end.
I would just like to add one point here that so there is a digital cell, or every like a digital team who are developing or exploring the new technologies. But to our organization, what we can see that it cannot be done in isolation. We have to take the experience of the construction guys who are actually working at the site. Otherwise, the adaptability from this, technology to the actual project, it will not happen. So we need to train them up and get up to the mark so that they can use this technology. And also their experience is quite valuable. So sometimes to, set up the screen, or what are the things we actually need, like we need a dashboard, or we need a graph. So we need to take their input, so that it is very friendly for them, not much disruption.
Great. Okay, so we have now lots of hands, so let's have 1 and then 2, and then I think that's all we'll have time for. So please, sir.
I want to ask, what is the required from the academics to link between the industry and the academic, especially for the undergraduate students who are studying now and the postgraduate research? If there is any recommendations about that, so they can apply what you are doing in the future?
So I'll just repeat it again, is what about the academic industry collaboration? What do we need to teach the undergraduate students from your perspective? And also, what about the postgraduate research?
Yeah, I think they need to spend some time at the sites to see how things work, and then go back to create the model or use the technology and see how it fits together.
Just learning more softwares?
Sorry?
Just learning more softwares?
I don't think so. If you see the recently Boeing 737 MAX, you have very nice software, but still the flight is going down.
So I come as a background in research as well, and I see like the main point would be kind of the integration would be, like in industry you see that we are tied with the schedule, so we need to deliver something good and fast. Where research we have that knowledge that it's the ideal world that we can try everything. If we kind of combine, provide students or postgrads with like real case scenarios that they actually can implement what they're trying to do, that would be the real benefit there. Like I see there's a lot of problems in relation to data secrets and all that stuff depending on the company. But I would say that the key message there, like, it's to have that integration, to have that one case scenario or one idea that everyone would access, would try different softwares, or you then bring students, graduate students, one of the cases that we had, and give them the tools for them to use and see, okay, what you can do with that. It's not just like give that idea, but make that real for them.
So I graduated like 3 years ago, so I can put my perspective on that note. So I didn't know BIM until I was in my post-graduation. So how I got to know is like the industry, like the people who are in the industry coming as a guest lecturers. And so it was like it's like an encouragement, or like a program should be there to invite the people who are working in the industry, like any of these gentlemen, and then give their insight to the students so that they would get to know about what's being implemented directly on the site rather than the theoretical aspects which you can find on Google. So like you have theory over there, but you have a practical perceptions from the people who are actually working in the industry. So that makes a huge difference. Yeah.
I also would just like to add to that, so there are many softwares out there, and as we speak there might be 3 new softwares out there. And unfortunately, often softwares get on the market, although they're not even ready yet, because it's kind of venturing interest behind that. I think for students, it's important to understand why we are doing something and not how we do it. So not what button to click, but what specific problem we're trying to solve with the software. And in that case, so what is the process like? And how we can make that process look better and more efficient in solving. Speaking of the focus on how to approach that.
Great, and we have one final question for our panel.
Are there new requirements for leadership to run innovative projects?
So I'll repeat, are there new requirements for leadership to run these innovative projects? Very good question.
I would say the main requirement it would be to have an open mind, because you cannot, like with the evolving process, you cannot be restricted in one tool and one way to do one thing. Everyone, like you can do that in a way, but then someone can do in a better way or in a worse way. So if you have that open mind that can bring new technology, can bring students that have like fresh ideas, that they are not on the industry for a long time and they know that's the way that's done and that's it. So I would say the main requirement would be to have an open mind and be aware of whatever is happening around, not just be focused on your own project.
I think he's right that should have a right kind of mindset and sort of a pro attitude to adopt things. And back to the question of many softwares, I think that's why when the management or the leaders, they see the things, every day if you change on softwares and different things are coming, they get confused. Because they want something which is validated, solid, reliable, which is not going to change in, say, 3 to 5 years' time. So that kind of reliability of a software, because I started my career where we have the board on where draftsman used to draft, then AutoCAD came, then we have seen MicroStation, and then currently we are doing this Revit shoot and other things. So the reliability is very important from a business point of view. We cannot keep on changing the tools, software, training the huge manpower.
I think that's really very important. I mean, if you have a boss who is every day asking what is the number, cash value of what you're doing there, you will have a big problem. So a boss who doesn't have like the big perspective of the future of the company for the next decades. I mean, in any case, that would be bad to not have a visionary boss, of course. But specifically for technology, if you're like being questioned all the time, what's the value of it? And on the other hand, he also has to understand what is being done there. So you got to have at least some high-level knowledge of the technology, because if he doesn't have that, it will be difficult for him to invest that and build up trust for what is being done there on site.
Good. With that, I want to thank all four of you for your participation in our digital transformation with BIM, the contractor perspective. Thank you very much for your insights. And now we will have our first coffee break of the day, so I encourage you to